Well, here we are again doing another painting of this composition of the Lincoln Cathedral. Only I've changed it slightly. You've seen the first one. I'll show it to you here now quickly. You see that's very colourful. This time I want to limit the colours down a bit more and be a little bit more wet into wet. I'm also going a bit more into detail on the composition now I've done one. I've added some pigeons here. I want to work more with the light and dark shapes, one against another here, and here with the figures 2 and through here. So I've refined it slightly as well. I'm not going to use much masking fluid on this, only a little here and there. I'm going to work with just brushwork, maybe a little white gouache or acrylic at the end to put the whites in. This way I can be nice and free with my brushwork, using different brushes to get different effects. I'm using the pigeons now for the girl to be looking at and to lead the eye in and through the painting. And I need to top up my watercolour palette. That's the beauty of using these liquid ones, is that I can just refill as and when I need. I use these big tubes nearly all the time. This one's an SAA watercolour paint, very nice artist colours. So lots more purple in there, and they'll just dry off as normal pan colours would. You can see here I've got quite a nice little collection of paints ready to go. SAA French Ultramarine, colour that we can't do without. And so on. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just mask off a little of these pigeons here. I shan't do much masking on this one, just a bit. I'm feeding there. I'm not going to do all the windows this time, just a couple of little bits of white here and there. I will just put a few little bits of white down these here because they're very useful for the iron lines, for the shining bits of metal leg here on the tables and so on. Right, what I'm going to do first of all here is to start on the sky. Just get that main area of sky done, the light coming from here across, bring some yellow ochre into the building here and down through, and let that dry off. In the meantime then I'll go on to painting some of the salient points down here afterwards. What I want to do is take my big hake again. I'll take the biggest hake of all. I'll just take my 1-inch hake, and again, as the last one, I'm going to wet the paper. Unfortunately I've had trouble again with the gum tape sticking down. You can see I've got a nasty large lump happening in here. I'm going to just paint over that and make do. Right down through. I'm going to paint all of this with the yellow ochre and cobalt, and get an effective light, let's say, coming through here to the back. I want to have light against dark and dark against light, a lot of chiaroscuro, as Rembrandt used in this painting. In other words, I want to get rough against smooth, light against dark, cool against warm. And first of all, to do that, I'm going to use some yellow, some raw sienna, not yellow ochre in fact, and just bring that in a nice big shape here, not too thickly. Sort of dribble down the paper a bit, that's fine. I want it quite light towards the edge there. That down through here a little bit, let the cloud come in there. And while I've got it on my brush, while it's still wet, let's bring it right down through these areas too. I want yellow ochre, this raw sienna, which is nicer than yellow ochre because it's more transparent. Let that come all the way down through these areas, right down through here. I'm going to put a glazes over it later. Nice bit of sunshine coming down through. I'm going to stick to a more limited palette this time. right up and through here as a glaze. That sunshiny glaze going all the way down, even down to the figures here. See why later. Right through here. As a basic wash. Right, now onto my cobalt blue, lovely blue, mix plenty of it up, not too thick at first. Let's come in and go around this form, put it trickling down there too much. It's really light at first. Remember that these colours always dry much lighter than when we first put them on. And that come right through here. This light area of cloud showing. Yeah, just got to mottle into it just a little bit, let it run down. I'm going to get slightly stronger with it as it comes over, dropping in more down to the side here. Here. So I do want this to help show out these. Now here I'm going to go right across my at an angle there as well, right across my towers. I want those to stand out. So I cover a little bit more there. Glorious thing to do, take a big brush and paint something this size. Now I'm going to take some stronger paint, some ultramarine, and get even stronger up here with these blues. So I really want the sunshine to be, this idea of light and sunshine to be happening up here and through. Right down through there again, through here again. So very different to the last sky we did. Lovely feeling of light. And then I want to start getting some slightly stormy cloud effects into this. Slightly darker, making a lovely deep grey, with some burnt sienna and the blue, going in here with this blue grey, and letting the gravity take this downward. And I want this because I want it to really show, let it trickle down here a bit against these lighter buildings, which I want to stand out in the sunlight. Right down through there again. And then I'm going to go even stronger across there. Take a little bit of Prussian now, and the burnt sienna, And let's really get some darks going in over here. To get lots of atmosphere. And again, let the gravity do the work. A bit stronger still. And drop some warms into there as if we've got a slight storm coming through here. Right, that will do for our sky. If we've got any trickles, a little more quick, now's the time to do it. That's one thing with working at an angle like this, I'm bound to get a little bit of this going on, but we're not too worried. Keep it nice and loose for you. We do want this effect of the, almost the rain coming down there, the light coming through. Right, so we'll let that dry. And while that's drying, in fact, I can make a start on some of the more salient points of the rest of the watercolour, in other words the figures. Away in my little box. I want to paint in these figures and so on, so we'll just zoom in on those. Right, let's start off with my post box, and for that I'm going to be using a small sword brush, like a useful little brush. Got two here I could use. I'll choose this one, and I'm going to make it a nice chrome yellow at first. I'm going to drop some red into it, all the way down here with chrome yellow, nice and quick. We want to be doing as much as we can with the beauty and the fluidity of watercolour, the transparency and the luminosity of it, and if we mix some colours they go dead, and it's often better not to mix but to drop one colour into another. So here I put some chrome yellow on. I'm going to come back in with a little bit of cadmium orange on the side of this, and then I'm going to go to some bright red, quite opaque some of these colours, and really give a feeling of this sunlit post van. Around the wheels. And at the back of the post van, a moment, just drag that brush through there a bit. We'll make it a lot cooler by adding some alizarin crimson right through here. I'll drop another colour into that in a minute as well. Right through and down. And then I want some of that chrome yellow, just where the number plate is, through here. There. And back to my alizarin again. Getting quite dark down here now. I'm going to put a shadow under there later, so let it glaze right through all the way down here. I'm going to use a bit of that burnt sienna again to work against, to foil against the cool of this red. It's a cool red, so we get that sort of effect. And to really bounce into it, take a little bit of the purple. Put some of that purple in here to the doors and the a totally different effect. Right, the figure next. We've got this light one behind and a dark one in front, again deliberately. And I want to use some of that same alizarin crimson for the faces. Keep it quite dark. Because the light is very strong. When the light is very strong, you tend to find that we get very strong lights and darks, but big differences between the lights and the darks. And again I want some of that purple, just to drop in back here. Keep his face quite dark. Same with her, just indicate her face, don't try and get too detailed, but let the viewer do the work. Let that dry a little bit. And her hands here. His shirt needs a little bit of light blue, so I'm going to take a wee touch of cerulean. I probably shan't be using the turquoise this time. Leaving the light edge there. Going down the centre of the shirt more here. Just up and around his neck. And then just a tad darker with some of that grey we mixed earlier. We'll just find a few of the curves of the creases here. And we'll give him a little bit of warmth, a little bit of the yellow around the shadowed side of the t-shirt. Down to his trousers, seems to be hanging just something over his trousers a little there. We'll put a bit of that blue coming down here, a little bit of ultramarine just there. And I want the dark of his trousers, so I'm going to take some Prussian blue. A little bit of indigo. Indigo, wonderful dark colour. Just look at that in my palette. Beautiful. Again, the beauty of these particular brushes is that I can almost do it in one stroke. Got a mess on this brush there. Just bring down his legs. Just get the feeling of the legs and the feet there. Dark down the inside of his arm. While I've got it, we'll look at his head as well. And hers too. A bit of bleeding going on just into the face, that doesn't matter. We'll let the accident of the watercolour do plenty of the work. can just blend that down and in. Get the feeling of his head and face. Same here for her, we can just use some of the shadowing there to get the feeling of her face. Quick as that. Down to her actual, and to pick some bouncy yellow with it now and go a bit darker. And then go back to my indigo, drop that in. Now across to these figures, again, go over my sword, keep them as simple as I can, a little bit of the yellow ochre again, and we'll just paint the top of her head in, a little bit thick that, just be a little bit lighter, so lift it out a fraction. While I've got it on my brush, is it anywhere else? Maybe a little bit there on the hands, to the top of the head, maybe not too much there, a little bit down across the hair, maybe a fraction there. Right, and while I'm at it, it's also on this lady's legs. Take a little bit of the mauve and just on the inside of her leg there, just drop in a little touch of that. Keep it simple. And that mauve again, while that's still wet around here, we'll just drop in a little bit around the edge of the hair. Get the feeling of that. It'll be dark around there later anyway, but we just want to feel a bit now. And I'm going to take some cobalt blue again now, that lovely blue we use for the sky, and paint the whole of her shoulder in. Lovely light blue. Just do a little bit of a strap coming down there from her shoulder bag. And then back to my indigo again. Let's drop in that arm. And while I'm at it, her hair. Keep it simple. Just a couple of strokes if we can to make our figures. And here she's got a dark bag here. Down below these leggings she's got, again we just want to indicate them. Let's use the other girl to my cerulean blue, so we're not using the turquoise today. The whole of those legs, jeans, right up to here. And then we can go back to our cobalt again and just drop in a little darker in places Take a little of the ultramarine. Nice strong blue. Get the feeling of these colourful jeans going down there, and back to a little bit of the darker indigo, just to give the feeling of depth. And again, I put now a lighter colour. I want to just take a little of that, take a little bit of cobalt violet and just go around here and just soften that down a bit. Touch of blue there. Now we need the pink to orange of her dress. So I'm going to again take this time a little of the chrome, go right through with the chrome, leave the white of her bag, and into that we'll take the cool of rose. Drop the rose in. And take some of the crimson, come in with that, a bit stronger. Across to these figures. Similar again, I'm going to start with some pale blue this time, some of the and work that cerulean blue thinly, just down and round. So on the back side here, down. Now while that's still wet, take some indigo and we'll just darken in and let that wet into wet effect of the wet into the surrounding paint give us the effect of the hair. Come right round here, down, round her arm, and all the way down the back there. And I want to use some of that burnt sienna into it to give it that extra warmth, and we'll just darken in down these edges to really get the feeling of that hair coming around, especially dark at that lower edge. Now up here, she's slightly warmer, so I'm going to take some burnt sienna, start with that up into here. Bring that right down and round. Like that. And I'm going to drop that warm mix that we made into there as well. So again we get the idea of the hair just by letting the wet into wet do the work really. And I want a slight halo of the hair, so I want a slightly lighter edge coming down around here. I'm going to go around the outer edge of that hair there, just slightly leaving a slight light area coming down and into the back here. Come in a bit darker, just around the shoulders, just down the back there, and now we want our lovely pink shirt. I'm going to use some cobalt violet down the back here, all the way down there, to give that nice pink effect to that. Just under her arm here, to that hand there, and then some of the chrome yellow again across the top here. To the back there, certainly down around here. Right down through there. Now down to that rose. So there's more than one colour going on here to get the feel of this. Rose all the way down there. Right down around her arm. And drop some more warmed here in a minute. Keep it simple. Down round her arm, all the way down there, even sticks out a little bit down here. Then down to a much brighter red, browny red. Where we start to use some of the burnt sienna to go much warmer still and link in with the hair. All these lovely colours going on. And finally into a bit of purple. Soften that down there, bit of red. Into her legs here, again I'm going to come back to my ultramarine, paint the whole leg in one go, almost one stroke, down, around, down. Again the beauty of the sword brush. I see now that I've missed just a little bit of pink here, which I'll have to come back on. Now while I'm onto that, take some indigo and drop it into there, all the way down the centre of that leg, and just let it spread out. Again a little purple, just to warm it up a bit, there we go. Now while I'm on that pink, just drop a bit of pink into there. Now the girl's dress, again cobalt violet, all the way down. Blue grey underneath her arm here. And we need to start getting the warmer colour coming down through here. Comes out there. Quite strongly there. Up into there, we've got this brown going on again. A little bit of cool, so take a bit of the cobalt, just bring up some shadows back of that dress. Maybe even a wee touch of purple there as well. And that will make more sense when the darks are painted in around her. But her hair is just getting down through here. A little bit of dark just in there too, just to bring that arm out. Now down to her legs. Again, a little bit of the ochre. Not too much for the feet. I'll take some warmth into that. Some rose. And a little bit now of the purple. And right at the very bottom, soles of the shoes just indicate that of the straps. And then straight back to the indigo again. And we'll put our leggings down here. That much darker leg against this one. So again, trying to keep things as simple as we can. Just feel a heel there, just feel a heel there. And there's our main figures in there, coming across to here. We've got light against dark and dark against light there. We've got shadows here, and these are going to be quite dark, these figures. May paint those in later. I think we can let the dust settle on that, let it drop it before we go on to paint the whole of the background in. What I may do now is go and paint the details that I'm going to want in on the Elizabethan houses. But my brush back where it comes from, and get a nice little stiff round brush out. This one's a nice one for this job. I'm taking the indigo again, a little bit of sienna, a little darker. It's now time to start painting in these details here. This little brush. Take a bit of time on this, because these sorts of details can be very irritating if they're wrong. There we are. Enough for now. So that's our salient points of detail. What I'm also going to do is just bring up these pigeons a bit here, and I'm going to do them later as well. Now, a little bit of detail on this face. I won't do too much. Just try and get her a little bit more sorted. Just indicate her eyes and nose here. The same with him, I guess. We'll just have a little play. There we are. That's now ready to work into the main background again. So we'll take a break. And so we continue how it's dried next day. And I'm going to go to my mop again. And start off with a coat of yellow ochre again. Just go over this tower. Take it down a tone from the sky. As you see, we're playing this light against dark and warm against cool and rough against smooth still. But in this case it means that I'm playing the slightly darker colour here of the stonework under the sunlight against the lighter sky behind. And right through there. And in fact, while I'm at it, it's also coming on this yellow ochre, lovely. Raw sienna, in fact, is coming on right through. You can see it coming through here, reflecting through. And certainly coming down the stonework of this. And that's the thing, once you start something like this you find you're hard to stop, you're well on the way into it. A little touch of cobalt. We need to give some of this a glazing again. I'll start to just work in some of these details now. Fairly loosely at first. Let's get the effects of light first of all going on that we were after. And then we'll get some texturing using the paper and a little bit of dry brush work. Start to do the shadows. Just dragging the brush with a little paint on it through the paper rather than covering it too much. Bits of texture and glazing to soften it back in there. Now it's a slightly greeny tint, so I'm going to add a little bit of sap green to the colour I've just been using. Drop that in to the stonework there. and it'll be the same along here. We'll just drop this slight green tint in to places on this. Before I come in with darker colours to go against this shortly. A nice glow to it. And I'm going to darken into those and dry a bit first. While I'm waiting for those to darken, I just want to go back into just a little bit and just drop in a touch of raw sienna into this tower here, which is darker. And some burnt sienna, a little touch of purple. Try that. Not really dark enough. I'm going to take some ultramarine then and add that to it as well. Ultramarine, Prussian blue, and burnt sienna, and a wee touch of the purple. There we are, that's a nice dark. A little more ultramarine, slightly bluer, and we'll come into that colour straight off, straight down there. Brush, I'll use it on here as well, in the shadow. And if it's there, chances are it's going to be elsewhere. Of course, as we make this darker, it will make things that are further back seem lighter. So the sky will seem lighter as I make this darker. And it depends how detailed you want to go as well, doesn't it? I could be using a much finer brush for this, but don't I really want to. I will go down to a smaller one now, just to start working in some of these details. I'll just flick these in with slightly dry brushwork effects. We're not going to put them in as heavy lines. Just an impression, just an indication. Maybe by just doubling up on these washes we can get the feeling of windows and so on. Same here. Now those are about dry enough to work on too, so we'll take a little bit of the indigo from yesterday with a bit of dark. Keeps it warm, and we'll just go back in there and make those a bit darker still. They're really being shadow now. Nice and simple. All the shadows are going that way, so we'll cast a bit of shadow across in there from them. Just a touch of the Prussian into it. We'll just dry brush in this bit of roof here, just letting some of the colour glow through. Back to my larger mop again. I want to drop in a little bit darker colour down into the shadow here. Right, let that dry off. Time to continue. and I'm going to use a small square brush just to look at my windows a minute, and a couple of little brushes for that. Because I want to just start looking at the effect of windows. There we go. Simple as that, isn't it? Lower down here, then it's more indication of what's happening with the windows rather than so much actual painting into the glass. Down here, you can go in between. I was going to put another figure in down below my brush now, but I'm not going to bother. Just leave the figures as they are. And while this paint's still wet, I need to get in there, drop a bit darker into it. So we're not using masking fluid at all this time, except for one or two small parts like we did there, and these pigeons here for later. All I'm doing is leaving the lights behind as I'm putting in these marks. You've seen several ways now of doing these windows. Now I'm going to use a little bit of the turquoise down here because I'm going to add yellow to it then. A bit of lemon yellow in fact, slightly opaque. Just to give that greeny yellow to that door. I'll come down with the dark afterwards. So that's the windows virtually done. I just need to work on some of these areas here now. The next stage, hello pussycat, what are you doing there, Eddie? The other pussycat's come to see me, haven't you? Yes. Right, I think we want to mop again. And we have to start looking at shadows and things on this building. Let's do a bit of cobalt blue first of all, just to give it some shadow down there. Get round the car, it's right down here. There we go. There's some darker areas here over that sign, around the edge of the sign. We're going to start now on the building. Put a nice warm colour for that. Just clean up my palette. Go, that was quick. And I want to use my Indian red. A bit of burnt sienna to take it down a fraction. Let's just try that out. Nice warm colour. So lots of Indian red there. Going over my yellow ochre. To make this seem much more yellow now then. A chamomile into that actually, just to warm it up a bit more. See what that's like, that's better. Let's drop that right in, right across here. Leaving behind that stone over the window, and leaving the window edges of course.
Right through under here, linking in with that paint we just did. Come straight down that side. Get it on there. Right down through there. And there we go. And that same colour, make it a little bit stronger, got a little bit more red to it as well. So I'd like a little bit of rose into it as well, I think, just to make it a bit warmer. There we are. I want it to be so much warmer than here. Or stronger, should I say. It's actually quite a cool day in some ways. Under that roof, all the way across. Again, leaving just over the windows, all the way down the side of those windows, and across. It'll be dark on those in a moment, so I haven't got to worry too much actually. I'll just paint straight down through there. It'll be dark on those in a moment. Right down through there. I'll warmth into the shadow here as well a bit. Let it come across. Back to this before it dries. Down here the colours get a bit stronger. I'm going to add a little bit of purple into it. It's a lovely colour now, look. Bring that right down there. Nice strong colours. Still keeping to a fairly limited palette though. And then to make these girls stand out, I want to take some ultramarine and mix that with it. I'm going to go quite deep and strong down here now. There's other windows and things to be painted in there. So I want her to stand out a bit. I'm going to go in and around. I'm painting very loosely, as you see. Use this lovely deep rich colour now up in the roof. Change down brushes on that, in fact, I'm going to have a job otherwise. I'm going to drop some even darker colour into this in just a moment. Same up here. This chimney top. While I'm at it, I'll drop in a bit more blue, make that seem warmer. Same up here, and some of the indigo as well, to go a bit darker in places. Down that edge, for instance. And the chimney tops here. Just feel the brickwork. A lovely effect, look. And while I'm at it, I've got this thin coat of slightly yellow brown. I'm going to add a little bit of, can't see it rose again into that. Just a bit more. We'll just paint in this roof, it should be a bit cooler. While I'm at it. There's some cerulean. Just to cool things down a bit more there. Lovely deep purple red colour. A little bit of Indian red into it. Let's see how we do with that. A little bit darker still, I reckon. Yep, that's better. And we'll start to paint that in all the way down. And there we go. And then we can start to drop some stronger colour in just a moment. Drop in with the indigo again. And where necessary, We'll use other blues like cobalt, maybe not quite so strong. Got these bushy things growing through here. Those in. Now, we have to come back, let that dry a bit, and then we'll come back over the washes across the yellows again. And up here, a little bit of dry brush work I guess in between as well. We'll just go along the tops of those. Easy as that. And some come in and some come out, so we'll just drag in on some. I'm going to do a little bit of lifting out there if I can. I just need to bring out a light line again here. Across here, look. See if I can lift that bit out, just to give me a slightly lighter line along there. There we go. That's better. And back to my yellow ochre. Just soften in. Back up to the top with a smaller brush. I'll take some ultramarine again. I'll do the whole of this cool. Now, that mixture of colours. A little bit of purple. A bit of yellow. I'll make that a fraction warmer. Fill that roof there. Down here, some darks. Some pipes that come all the way down there. Then to the back here. The way that they come. Just over the windows too. More blue in it. Coming from there and from here. Nice strong shadow of these chimney pots coming right up through. A little bit darker at the bottom edge. And as it comes down to the edge here, it's also right, it's slightly dry painting now, so we need to get down to the last part in the foreground here. So I'm going to start mixing up some nice colours to glaze at the front. Keep doing with all these cobblestones, we'll just use the rough paper to feel it. So a mixture of cerulean and a little bit of cobalt violet at the moment, but paint in the directions of perspective. Just tickle in these foreground bits, warmer in places to get the eye, leave the eye in. And if it's a slightly wet day, maybe we'll have a little bit of reflection going on, just a touch. And then we've got this very important shadow to go in here. It's a lovely shadow. I've just got to start making that. What am I going to use? I'm actually going to take a little bit of the turquoise and some cerulean to start off with. Because I want to just get an underglazing of cool going on here. And then let's really hit it with the ultramarine, some purple, get a lovely deep, rich shadow. Right on down through here. I need to let that dry up a bit before we look at any other final work to go into there. A flat brush to finish off with, and yellow, and just drag in some of this colour to make it a bit stronger now through here. Dry brush work here and there just to strengthen up this foreground and liven things up. And finish off the picture. A little bit more life, but a couple of details to do, but not a lot now. And we'll have done. I think we're about there, you know. Just put a touch of green into it. And it's just going to be a few details, I think. Okay, the final stage of the work now. We've got a dry painting, almost finished. I just want to remove these little bits of masking fluid here for the pigeons. So we've got light against dark, we've got some dark pigeons back there, we've just got a couple of light ones here, look. So we'll just tidy up on those. And we only need a small brush just to go around them a little, give them a little colour. Not a lot, just to get them tidy. A shadow underneath them maybe, not much, a little bit of extra shadow shall we say. And we'll just show the wings, and then we'll just darken the whites down a bit in a moment as well. Just with clean water, we just drag across them, just take them down a tone. And we'll go back in with a bit more dark, just to darken underneath them a fraction more. Sometimes they have a couple of stripes on them, don't they? We'll just do that. Or a darker head maybe. Just need to rub away these final pieces of masking fluid here and just bring some water across them just to take the brights back a little bit. I don't want them too shiny there. And then we've got the feeling of the chairs that are in the background shining there. And for a demonstration of how to paint figures, I think this is quite adequate really. It shows you a reasonable way of painting figures quite loosely, almost like painting by numbers, by painting one bit at a time, relevant one to another. Looking at it afterwards, we don't want to overwork a watercolour, but I've decided that I just like a little bit more reflection. Just there's a little bit of rain about the place, so I just want to bring down a little bit more colour through here. In places. Not a lot, just a bit. Just to down that edge. These areas a little bit. There we are, I think that does it a bit better. And we've got a fraction down there as well. Yes, small things that make such a difference.